Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So, a few things. Sorry if you can hear like a breeze in the background. It is so hot here already. It is early in the morning and it's already unbearable for the UK, probably not for everywhere else, but it's so hot. So I have a fan on pointing at me. I'll try and get rid of the background noise as much as I can. But you know, it's kind of ASMR, right? Also as well, yeah, it's so hot I can't even wear my rings. My fingers have swollen up, or I've put on so much weight since yesterday. I'm gonna blame the heat. So I'm doing something a little bit different for you this week because my time management skills are so terrible that I haven't given myself enough time to edit a ghost story video the way I usually do. And that usually involves me obviously doing my makeup and then reading off a screen. Reading for me isn't the best thing because I'm dyslexic. So when I'm trying to read, sometimes words and sentences don't make sense. So I can be looking at a sentence for like a minute trying to figure out how I've said it wrong, if that makes sense. So it usually takes me a whole day to edit these ghost story videos. So what I'm doing today, just so I can give you some content and a ghost story video, I'm going to be kind of reacting to your ghost stories. So I sent out like an SOS yesterday and I was like, if anyone has the time, I would really appreciate it if you could video yourself telling me your stories or just an audio recording of your stories. And you guys are incredible and you've sent me some. If you send me more after this, I'll probably save them for another time when I do this and ruin everything. A lot of people are like, oh no, I like hearing you tell the stories. It isn't a permanent thing, it's just for this week. And I might include some of them maybe in a few, an episode, whatever. And I might read one today, we'll see how we get on. Anyway, hi. My whole ghost story series is based on Bailey Sarian's Murder Mystery Makeup Mondays. So go ahead and check her out, she's incredible. I'll leave a link below for you, although you probably know exactly who she is. So this week, what I was thinking, I want to do something quite light, natural, but not natural, ethereal. Not natural because I'm going to use like really chunky glitter, even though I hate glitter. Oh, actually, this takes really long to get off the skin. I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. Almost like, you know what? Let's make a look, and then you guys tell me what you think the backstory is to it, and the winner gets nothing. I'll pin the comment. Let's start with our first story. I'm actually really excited. Oh, I'm going to use these palettes from Clio, the Prism Air palettes. If you guys know me, I love this brand. It's a Korean brand, but their eyeshadows are just absolutely incredible. And I didn't, dropped a brush. I didn't realize I did a whole palette with these eyeshadows. So I've never used these before. I'll have everything linked below for you. I'm really close to the microphone. Hey, let's go, let's do it. Who's first?
Hi, my name is Sarah and I live in Florida, but this is a story about when I went to school in northern Minnesota in the middle of nowhere. So I lived in this building when I was a second year. This dorm was kind of comprised of vertical units, and so each unit had 4 floors. I was on the 3rd floor and this building was really empty. So my roommate and I were the only people on our floor, and then there were 2 rooms above us on the 4th floor, and I knew all the girls. There were only 4 girls up there. This weekend in that January, I was by myself sitting in my room playing guitar because everyone from upstairs, including my roommate, was gone for work or band trips or whatever. It was very quiet. You could really hear anything that was going on, and no one was really in that building because it was the weekend and a lot of people lived close by, so they go home for weekends. So I was playing guitar, and as I was playing, I could hear footsteps upstairs circling my head. At first, they kind of wandered around the room, and then they started to circle me. Like, it sounded like my friends upstairs were just walking around exactly where my bed was. I thought that was so bizarre, so I stopped and listened some more. And I texted my roommate, who had left hours ago, if anyone had been up there or if they'd left already. And she said they'd all left hours ago. So I thought it was so bizarre. I kept playing guitar and trying to see what was going on and listen some more. And then I heard more footsteps. And then I heard like this wooden chair being dragged across the floor because all of the furniture in their dorms was like really old dorm furniture from the 60s or 50s that just kind of worn out and super heavy wooden pieces. And I could hear the drawers being open and closed in the dressers, which are very hard to open and close because they're just very sticky and not good. So I started freaking out because I realized that no one else was up there. and it sounded so distinct. My friend who lived upstairs, she had these little booties that she would wear all the time. They had a heel on them, and they were very distinct in the noise that they would make. And so I could always recognize and always know when she was about to head downstairs to meet me or whatever. It's kind of how I knew where she was. And I heard those boots walking around, which is weird because they're her favorite. I could tell you about them right now. Like these glitter boots. And I knew she'd taken those with her, which I thought was so weird. Like she definitely would have taken those shoes with her because she wore them all the time. So to hear that noise walking around was really crazy. So I freaked out and went to my friend's house for the night. But there were more instances throughout the year. And when my friends got back from that weekend, I asked them about it. They said, yes, that's the ghost who lives in our room or on that floor. She's always there and she's pretty creepy. So they told me that they even like would sprinkle like holy water from like church and stuff. And sometimes she wouldn't be there for a while. But they would tell me about how they'd be taking naps and they'd feel like someone was watching them. When they were sleeping, they could hear their drawers being open and closed, which is just not going to happen naturally because they're very sticky, heavy drawers. And they'd also like hear their shoes moving and chairs moving and stuff like that, even when they were in the room, which is really scary. So eventually my boyfriend came and stayed over at the time, and everyone from upstairs and my roommate were all at breakfast. And we're sitting in my room and we could hear the footsteps upstairs, and he was like, oh my God, what is that? Is that what you've been telling me about? That's so scary. I was like, yeah, good thing I'm like not alone. You know what I'm talking about. Because I started to feel like I was going a little crazy. Eventually I heard from other people in the building that they heard noises like that. Like someone heard that kind of noise, like someone was clicking next to their ear while they were sleeping, and they woke up and saw like this figure. Someone said that she had walked into her room, all the windows were closed because it's snowing in winter, and the corner of her comforter on her bed just flipped open, and my other friend said she felt like someone was lying on her back once, like just came and laid on her back, which is really scary. So months of this go by, and eventually later that spring I told my mother about it, just a little bit, not a lot. Like I didn't really give her details. I kind of just told her that I'd heard steps and had been starting to get nightmares too, that were just kind of confusing. And she was like, okay, like, something's going on. And she's all into supernatural, so she thought that it was a spirit or something. That night, I had this dream, and it's so vivid, that this girl, who we named the ghost Catherine, we were pretty sure that was her name, and she appeared to me in this dream, and we were in a cornfield because the school was in the middle of a country. There's cornfields everywhere, so I didn't think that was uncommon, but there was a fire in it, and she was trying to like escape this fire, and she seemed very stuck. And I think she was looking for her friend or something, but she was in this white dressing gown, but I couldn't see her face. I could just see like her hair and arms and everything else, but not her face. So the next morning I wake up and I was like telling my friends about it, and they're like, yeah, you know, that there used to be like a mental hospital here and it burned down in the 1800s, used to be surrounded by cornfields. I was like, oh my God, that's what my dream was about. I had no idea. It was so scary. My mom calls me later that day, and my mom has a psychic that she calls all the time when she has like inklings about things or whatever, and she told her psychic about it. And the psychic has no idea about where I'm at for school, anything like that. And the woman told my mom, like, oh yes, this ghost or this spirit, she's very self-conscious about her face because it got burnt when it burned in this horrible fire that killed her. And that's what was destroyed. And I think she lost some friends. She feels very stuck because she's trying to help them all get to the other side, but she can't find them. But someone needs to tell her that she can go, because she needs to go. And I was just like shocked. I had chills because that was precisely what my dream had been about, and the only people I'd really told were like my roommate and my friends from upstairs that day. And so it was crazy that all that information had kind of come forward. And so we all were just like, throughout the next couple of days, we're like, okay, you can go, like you can totally leave. We were giving her permission to leave this world and pass on. And then we never heard from Catherine the ghost again. We never heard footsteps, never saw anything, just kind of ended. So I'd be really curious to go back and see if anyone else has any stories or experiences from that building, because it was definitely like everyone in that unit had experienced something from her. And so, yeah, that was definitely one of like the most real ghost experiences that I'd had, and definitely the most prolonged because it was something that reoccurred over and over for months. But that's my ghost story.
Amazing. Oh my god. Thank you so much. I just it's really horrible to think that you could like die and then still be worrying about your life. You're like meant to be, you know, done and resting, and that's your life gone. Thank you so much for that story. God, imagine having a dream like that and someone being like, oh yeah, that's the whole situation. That's literally how this girl died. Oh, that would kind of scare me a little bit. I'd be like, who am I? Why have I been chosen for these dreams, you know? Thank you so much for sending that in, and so last minute as well. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. So next we have the lovely Jamie.
Hello, Robert. This is Jamie. We had talked a bit on Twitter about the dilemma you were having because of so many emails. And I did warn you about my southern accent, so hello, how are you? I'm Jamie. I am disabled. I have no use of my legs anymore thanks to multiple sclerosis. I have been diagnosed for about 9 years now, and it helps so much to be able to watch the people that I look up to and to be able to interact with people on social media, because I stay home. Even besides quarantine, I'm always home. So this is nothing out of the ordinary for me, but for others, it's like shit, you know? Stay home, wear a mask. Okay. So my first recollection of when I'm able to say, okay, I remember this specific incident when I was about 3.5 years old, and my father had passed away due to a car accident, and my mom had gotten remarried about 8 or 9 months later. Well, both families, my mom and my brother, my sister, and myself, and my stepdad had 2 daughters, so altogether there was 5 of us. But my brother had moved out because he had turned 18, so it was just 4 girls there, and I was the baby. So my 2 older siblings, my real sister and my stepsister, were watching me and my younger new stepsister, who is 4 years older than myself. Well, it started pouring down and storming so bad. So they told us to go to our rooms, go to sleep, yada yada. Okay, well, they thought that I went to bed. And in the living room was a huge bay window, and all you could see was just the trees almost blowing sideways because it was raining that bad in South Georgia in the 80s. So, my gosh, when I tell you I've heard this story so much growing up, you would not believe it. The lights went out. My sisters went in there to check on me and my other sister, who was in the bedroom, but I was nowhere to be found. So after they realized I wasn't in the bedroom, they go and start looking in every room of the house. And all of a sudden, the lights come back on, and I'm standing in front of the bay window, and I'm just looking out at it. And my sister says, "Jamie, what are you doing?" And I turn around and I look and I say, "I'm talking to our dad." And I have grown up my whole life hearing this story and how much it freaked my sisters out, my real sister, and then my two new stepsisters, to the point where they called the restaurant and got my mom and my stepdad to come home, and it freaked them out. So that was a pretty crazy experience. I remember plenty of times like going through all of the issues with my MS and having cancer, 5 years free now. And after everything, you start to kind of try to put puzzle pieces back of things that you thought you forgot, or maybe it was real, maybe it wasn't. You kind of start questioning yourself when your brain decides to mess up on you on a daily, hourly, minute by minute basis sometimes. And I got really sick about 3 years ago, and they didn't know what was going on. They could not figure out what was causing my headaches. They couldn't understand why no medication was working. They could not understand why I kept having seizure after seizure after seizure. And I kept telling them, like, I see my dad. I see my dad. But they didn't know that, my dad had been passed since I was 3 years old. And this was in 2017. So it's been a while, They were just trying to do their job as a nurse to calm me down. And after the fact, after I got better and the day I got released, the nurse was taking care of me. She told me, "I don't know how you went through and pulled through the way that you did, and you coded 3 times on us." And I was like, well, that makes sense because I seen my dad, and he's been dead since I was 3. And the woman about shit herself, like, and I was dead serious, but she was freaked out. So there's been more instances throughout my childhood growing up, a lot of other different things, but I'll just keep those 2 and have plenty of more to tell you. So I hope you have a good evening, Robert, and thank you for letting me tell my story. Bye.
Thank you for sending it in, Jamie. There's something very comforting about stories like this, where, well, not the whole story, but the bits where, like, when I see, like, relatives who have passed, I don't know. It's a nice thing to know that there could be somebody waiting for you. And Jamie, you did tell me about your Southern accent, but I love American Southern accents. I think there's something very calming about them and very, very friendly. I love them. Yeah, thanks again for sending that in, and again, thank you for sending it in so last minute. I appreciate you helping me out. Okay, let's see who is next.
Hi, Robert. Sending you lots and lots and lots of love from Beirut. Your videos are great and they really help take my mind off everything happening here. So the story is not about me. Well, technically it's about me. It's about my mom. 27 years ago, when my mom was pregnant with me, coincidentally she was also 27, she was home all alone one night. This is post-Civil War Lebanon, so, you know, the country is completely destroyed, there is nothing. And she was even more alone because she was on the third floor of the building, and everyone else in the building was at a wedding. And so she was completely 100% alone in this building at night. I don't understand it either. And so pregnant, very heavily pregnant. And so she was in her bed, trying to fall asleep. And her bedroom leads off onto a balcony. And it also leads, the door leads to a corridor. And there are small attics. I don't know if they have them, in the UK. It's like this, it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a small mezzanine, that's where there's a little door, and that's kind of this attic with no window, but it's part of the house. Like it's not I don't know how to describe that. So anyway, she was in her room and trying to fall asleep, and as she was slipping into, like when it's foggy and you're trying to go to sleep, and as she was slipping into sleep, she just saw a big, huge ball of light, like a huge ball of light, enter the bedroom, just kind of appear in the bedroom and kind of whoosh towards her and then just disappear. And it was this ball of white light, of really strong white light. She describes it as a little sun, entered her bedroom. And she completely freaked out. She thought it was aliens in that little attic. She was mortified. She thought she would have a miscarriage. She was so scared. It was really horrifying. She still trembles when she recounts the story. And then she just, as she was freaking out, she didn't hear anyone say it, but she felt as if like something was telling her, your baby is okay. Your baby is all right. You will not lose the baby. She didn't hear it. She just kind of, the thought formed in her head. And that was it. But she completely freaked out. Like she was pounding on the door of a neighbor's house, asking for the phone so she can call my dad, who like rushed back home, really, really scared. And to this day, it makes her really uncomfortable to tell that story. And, she has no idea what it was. She doesn't know if it was aliens trying to take her baby. Oh, that was her original theory. Or if it was, some sort of ghost, of spirit passing by, if it was something trying to contact her, if it was, she says she doesn't feel like it was a negative energy, just like it was really, really powerful, like a small sun in her bedroom, and this was completely at night. So yeah, that's the ghost story I have. Sorry for my really thick accent in English. And again, thank you so much for everything. Love you.
Thank you so much. First of all, I hope you're safe and well, and you and your family are fine. And also as well, your English is perfect. Your accent is so nice. Thank you for that story. I think there is nothing scarier than these stories when someone's pregnant and it's almost like something's coming to like fuck them up or like interfere with their peace a little bit. You know, you're ultimately trying to like protect this child and you want this child to be safe even before they're born, and then this ball of light comes into your room. It's like, your child's fine, it's going to be fine, trust us. Like, no, that's a great excuse to leave like a party though. Oh, I need to go, my friends phoned me and they've seen a ball of light. I'm using that one next time.
Hi Robert, I really love your channel and I just wanted to start off by saying I love what you're doing. Please, if you need a break, take a break. We will all be there when you're back and we will all be happy when you're happier. Anyway, to the story. It's not really a ghost story, although I'm not sure. We'll see what you think. My grandpa died in 2017, and to explain the situation a little, we don't know why he died. He just literally dropped dead, and we still to this day don't really have anyone who could explain what happened. We live in Germany in a very rural area, and ever since my grandpa died, when my family is feeling down, a member of my family needs help, needs support, white pigeons appear. It's really odd. There's white pigeons that kind of just rest on top of a roof. There's pigeons flying around. There's pigeons on the ground, white pigeons, whenever one of my family is feeling weird. I'm not someone to believe in the paranormal, but this is freaky. It's so magical almost. When I get home from school and I feel down, there will be white pigeons. And I thought I was the only one noticing, and I thought, oh, you know, climate change, maybe they just migrated here. But when I told this to my family, they all said they experienced the same thing. And my grandma, the wife of the grandpa who sadly died, lives in another part of Germany, and she said the same thing. So we're all convinced that my grandpa is sending white pigeons from heaven. Thank you for listening, and I know this was a really short story, but I thought it was somewhat of a change. It's a really sweet story, and I thought maybe when you see a white pigeon somewhere, you'll think that someone's looking out for you. Bye!
I love that so much. That's so cute. To have that feeling of somebody, you know, watching over you and making sure you're happy when you're down. That's lovely. I really like that. Birds always seem to be a sign of somebody coming back, or somebody being there in spirit. There is a story I know about a robin, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. I can't remember even where I heard it, but it was very like, yeah, it doesn't make sense if I don't tell it. Thank you so much for sending that in.
Hi Robert, this is Trina from Tennessee. Sorry I didn't have time to look nicer for this. I've been getting stuff done around the house all day. So anyways, here's my story. It's kind of a two-section thing. So I think a lot of people in my family are just a little extra perceptive. Me, and particularly I think my great-grandfather, even though I never met him, I feel like we're on like, I don't know, there's some kind of psychic connection there. So like for me, when I was in middle school, I remember one week I was just like, things aren't right, this isn't right, what's going on? 3 bad things happened that week. I remember that 3 bad things happened. I don't remember what all 3 are. One is that some relative of mine, I believe, either got sick or died that week. It's been a while since middle school, so I'm not exactly clear whether that was the week he died or just some health issue happened. The big one I remember is a couple of my classmates were skipping class, went down to the creek by the school, and actually found a dead body. I believe a local gentleman, maybe a homeless person, had died there in that creek, and unfortunately these classmates of mine actually found his body, which I'm sure was super traumatizing, and all of us were kind of shocked by that. So anyways, but those are pretty minor. I just have like these intuitions sometimes, and I try to respect them because I feel like I learned early on that they may mean something, and even if they don't, I'm going to err on the side of caution. So my great-grandfather was like, honestly, I don't know. I feel like maybe I am like him reincarnated or something, even though I don't really think I believe in reincarnation. But he was outside working in his yard one day and saw a coffin floating by, like on the path, like on the walkway, front path, up to the house, like went up the stairs, like floating by, went up the stairs into the house, and as soon as the coffin went into the house, the phone rang. And so he immediately knew what it was going to be. He was very close to his brother. He knew that the news was going to be that his brother had died. His brother had a lot of personal demons, I guess, and so he just knew that was going to be what happened. But he saw the coffin floating inside, and as soon as it got to the door, the phone rang, and it was news about his brother. So anyways, I feel like these aren't great. They're not as like creepy or crazy as a lot of the stories you usually get, but maybe it'll help. Anyways, thanks for all you do. Bye.
It was perfect. Thank you so much for sending that in. What a crazy... Oh my god, can you just imagine seeing it and knowing and being like, oh, that's so sad. That's so interesting that you have that like connection with him. That's such a weird story. I love that. Thank you so much. We have so much more than I thought we would have, which is amazing. Let's listen to this one while I stick on my lashes. It's called 10 Plates.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once upon a time, there was a lord who lived in a castle. The lord was young and handsome and clever, but also cruel. And he was a man who believed that due to his high birth, anything or anyone he wanted should be his. Working in the castle, there was a maid of particular beauty, and she took the eye of the lord. He began to pursue her, but at every turn she rejected him, and the more she rejected him, the more he wanted her. He tried to win her with sweet words, compliments, and offers of gifts, but she knew what was in his heart, that there was only cruelty there, and she refused him each and every time. But he was not a man who would take no for an answer, and so he devised a cunning plan. There were many treasures in the castle, but among the most valuable was a set of 10 china plates. Plates whiter than bone, finer than glass. Their worth was more than 10 men could earn in 10 lifetimes. And the lord told the maid that she was now responsible for the plates. She would be the one to wash them, to dry them, to place them back in their box and lock them away in the strong room. But of course the maid was not the only one who had a key to that strong room. One night, when all others were asleep, the lord let himself in, opened the box containing the plates, and took out one of the 10. The next day, he called for the maid and told her to bring the box of plates to him. He commanded her to open it and take out the plates to show them to him, and so she did. She opened the box and took out the plates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She stopped and that wasn't right. She counted again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again she tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again and again she counted, but still, each time there were only 9 plates. As she grew more frantic in her counting, the Lord lay back and smiled. When she was nearly in tears, he said, "Well, my dear, the plate is gone. You must have stolen it, or broken it. By the law, I can take your life for such a thing, but you have such a pretty face. Come to my bed, and I will forget all about the plate." And the maid then knew that he had been the one responsible for the missing plate, and she knew he had done this to try to trap her, but still she said, "No." In a rage, the Lord grabbed her by her hair, dragged her outside and threw her down a well in the courtyard, and then thought no more of her. And though she was missed, no one dared to question what had become of the pretty maid, and the Lord soon forgot about her. She was only a maid after all. A week passed, then 8 days, then 9, and during the night the Lord began to have an untroubled sleep. He thought he could hear something. It sounded like a voice that was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Suddenly a scream was heard all through the castle. The servants rushed into the master's bedroom, and they found the Lord sitting in the bed, holding his hand, blood oozing between his fingers. When they summoned lights and prized open his hand, they saw that one of his fingers was missing. It looked as if it had been bitten off. Guards were called. There must have been a wild animal that had broken in during the night, but though they searched, they could find no trace of it. All was silent again for 9 nights. But on the 9th night, again a voice was heard counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again a terrible scream came from the master's chambers. Again the servants rushed, and again they found him, that now he only had 8 fingers. This continued. Guards were called to stand all around the castle, then sent away. All of the servants were dismissed, but still it would continue. 9 nights of peace, and then on the 10th, the counting that started at a whisper, 1, 2, 3, 4, and every time another finger gone, another finger taken as if bitten off. The Lord began to become too afraid to sleep. He would pace around at night, holding the stumps of his hand, and so it continued until he had just 1 thumb left. He was walking around in the courtyard, the moonlight falling down. He was waiting. He knew it was coming. He was waiting to hear the counting. And then he heard something, but it wasn't a voice. It was the sound of something wet hitting stone. Then there was a scratch. And then he heard the all too familiar sound of 1, 2. He heard another sound, a sound like wet cloth being dragged along a floor. 3, 4. The sound was coming from the well, and there was a strange glow coming from the well too. 5, 6. Something was rising from the well. Something was pulling itself up out of the well, a figure with long black hair falling over wet white robes, a figure with fingernails that dug into the stone as it pulled itself up out of the well. 7. The Lord was too frightened to run. 8. He was too frightened to scream. The figure seemed to glow as it came towards him. He could see the teeth, sharp, white teeth. Teeth like precious china, teeth as white as bone, teeth as sharp as glass. 10.
Oh my god, and that's where it finishes. Oh my fucking god. That was fucking amazing. Oh my god, that was so unexpected. That was incredible. Oh my god, I've teared up because I was so scared. Oh my god, that was incredible. Thank you. I need to read this email. I've just been clicking on the attachments and opening them. Dear Robert, I'm an oral storyteller. And when I saw you were looking for people to record their ghost stories, I couldn't resist. This is not a story or something that happened to me, but is a ghost story I have regularly told. It's based on a Japanese ghost story called, I can't read that from here, Bancho Seiyasaki? Oh, I butchered that, sorry. In the ghost in the well, but I have added on to the ending. The sound quality isn't the best. I'm going to phone in the dark late night when I should be asleep. Oh, thank you so much for sending that in. That is incredible. Listen, do you have like a podcast or something, or a YouTube channel or something? I would love to share that with everyone if you do. That was absolutely incredible. Oh my god, I nearly cried. That was amazing. First of all, when it started, I thought I was being haunted. Oh my god, guys. So Slumber Reads has sent me a story. When I first started this series, so many of you were like, you have to check out Slumber Reads, you'll love a channel, you'll love his storytelling. So I checked it out and been hooked ever since. His channel is one of those channels where I'll finish filming and I'll go to YouTube and I'll turn it on and have it in the background while I'm like organizing this room after I mess it up. His storytelling is amazing, absolutely incredible. So to have a story sent in from him is like incredible. Okay, let's listen.
This may not be the most intense story out there, but it's usually the one I start with when asked if I have any ghost stories. Although I do have some personal stories that may sound more frightening, this is the one that gets me. Many experiences with the paranormal can be explained at least one way or another, even if that explanation is far-fetched. However, no matter how hard I try to rationalize this experience, I can't. I'm genuinely curious if you, or anyone listening to this, have experienced the same thing, or perhaps can explain this phenomena. I was 15 and driving around town one night with my friend who was old enough to drive. He asked if I was hungry. I was, and he suggested we head over to McDonald's. Both of us being young and broke, I didn't have any money. I suggested we head over to my house, which we were already near anyway, so I could ask my dad for $5. We pull up, and all the lights are off. Not unusual considering it was roughly midnight. Walking in, everything seemed normal. I had no reason to feel on edge. I call out to my dad, asking if he is still awake. From back in his room, which is at the end of the hall, I hear him call back saying he is. Getting to his door, I see that his light is on. His room was positioned so I wouldn't see it from the front of the house. Again, not odd at all. I ask if I can come in quick and hear him once again, clear as day, say, "Yeah, what's up?" I grab the doorknob and as I do so, the light underneath the door goes out. I open the door fully and say, "Hey, mind if I switch on the light?" "Sure." I flip on the light and no one is in the room. Not a single person besides me. I call out, "Dad?" and hear him from the other side of the house call back, "I'm in the bathroom." Alright, no way. I was officially spooked, but figured maybe I misheard him, and maybe I imagined seeing the light shine under his door. I get to the bathroom door, baffled at this point. "Hey, you in there?" "Yeah, I'm just brushing my teeth. You can open the door." I do, and once again, no one is in there. My dad is and always has been a practical joker. I had no idea how he was pulling this off, but I figured maybe he was downstairs and calling up to mess with me. I call his cell phone and don't hear his phone ringing. About 10 seconds in, he picks up. To cut details on the call, he was a full hour away. He wasn't even home. No one was but me. I told him what happened, and he of course made a few lighthearted jokes about the house being haunted. He didn't take it serious at all. In the end, he did let me borrow a $5 bill he had on his dresser, and I ended up getting my McChickens. But that night remains as one of the strangest things I've ever experienced. I've never been one to hear voices or anything of the like. It remains the one experience I have no explanation for, no matter how hard I try to come up with one. What do you think? Did I have a brief mental break? Or was it perhaps something paranormal?
things like that. Those stories where something is mimicking a family member scare the shit out of me. I like, what is this ghost or thing trying to do or prove? It's really, really, really terrifying, that kind of story, especially when it's mimicking like your dad or a parent or a child. No, I can't. It makes me it's just like, is that evil or is that someone being like funny, friendly? I don't find that friendly, funny. I find that like, what's it, like mischievous. Oh, it gives me goosebumps. Thank you so much for taking your time to send that to me. I love your storytelling. I love your channel. I think it's absolutely amazing. I'll link Sunbury's channel below and I'll pin it in the comments so you guys can go and check it out. You love the whole like ASMR kind of side of storytelling as well. His videos are very relaxing and very calming if you like to be scared shitless at the same time. That was amazing. Oh my god, what a great episode. I loved this. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. That was so much fun. We will be back to me reading the stories next week, but I do have some more stories here that I might slip in now and then, just because it gives me a second to kind of regroup and it makes them faster for me to edit also. Oh, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for doing this so last minute. Thank you for taking the time out of your own schedules to help me and to help me put this episode together so we can keep these going. Thank you all so much again for joining me. I will see you on Wednesday, Friday and Sunday, and next Monday for more ghost stories as well. Thank you so much. I will see you very soon. Bye.